Yeah, I've got chat pulled up right now.
Okay. Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday night with the crib. Right now, it's currently just me and Dr. Death. Larry left work a little bit late, so he should be joining us in about right around 10 minutes. So, how are you doing? How was your raid, Dr. Death?
Oh, my raid was a grind. It was long, 752 million points long.
Yeah. I thought you weren't going to say how many points you got.
No, I wasn't going to say the other part.
Oh, okay. Okay. Alrighty. Um, Yeah, everybody, I put a little public service announcement up last night to make sure that everybody at least becomes familiar with all the targets, um, because you're probably going to be forced to do them in an hour to get the new skill hall, but we're skipping ahead. Um,
Yeah, I do have a public service announcement I want to make.
okay, go ahead.
Now, this is for everybody out there watching. This is for all the players in the game. This game, while we do have the supposed secured network for buying gold on the game, there is no secured network on our bases. If you PM a player's base, it is not a secure link. Do not send your credit card information to players in this game and tell them, hey, use this to take and load your coins. Okay, it is not secure. You don't know the person you're giving that information to. I had 5 different people send me their credit card information. People were that desperate this raid.
My goodness.
And I refuse to use any of them. I absolutely refuse to, but I'm just saying, don't do it. Go
Yeah,
buy a Facebook card or something. Do not ever send your credit card information over on this game by PMing somebody's base, and especially when you don't even know the person you're talking to. Did I lose you?
yeah,
Hello?
yeah, I'm here. I think probably the best fix for that is the fact that Target will do Facebook cards, email delivery, and they'll show up in about an hour. And you can give that person whatever, 10, 25, $50, whatever, and just have it limited to that with a Facebook card that'll get sent to your email, and you can send the code to that person. Yeah, never send anybody your credit card number.
I had
Or the
5 different players because I was merking the whole raid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And people were getting desperate, and they were like, "Well, look, here's my credit." They gave me the credit card number, they gave me the security code, they gave me the date on the card, and said, "Hey, just go in and load it." And I was like, "No, I first off, I don't know these people, so I didn't know if the card was stolen."
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Or even if it was their card, they could have come back after the raid and said, "Hey, he stole my card." So I wasn't about to use anybody's credit card. But the fact that 5 different people this raid sent me their credit card information to load coins so I would merc for them just blew my mind. And that just goes to show how desperate the player base is getting to be able to try and do this stuff. If you don't have the top tech, you can't do it.
Yeah, and the bigger question is, are we getting the top tech or not? I mean, except for maybe those armors. Those armors might be the top tech that you're looking for the next raid cycle, but we don't know. Like I sort of subtitled the show, are we getting the Tideseeker or are we getting the Ironclad? And we don't know at this point which one we got. As far as which one is the Icebreaker? Is it going to be a good utility haul that does all sorts of stuff at a reasonable cost and stressful driving, or the Ironclad, which was, besides a few niche uses, really declined as the raid cycle went on. And I don't know how useful it's going to be next. For its alternate purpose, it's extending its life another 8 months or 9 months, I guess, is in the Drac mining bases. How useful is that Ironclad going to be once they change the targets? We still don't know when they're going to change the targets, but And there's a question on chat as far as when the FM starts. The FM's going to start tomorrow at 1:05
Kickside time.
Kickside time. So 4:05 Eastern time with daylight savings time. I don't even know what time it's going to be. Is it +4 in England at this point? So yeah, whatever, you know.
Well,
whatever.
here's my theory though about the mines. Okay, you know they transitioned the FM and they transitioned the Drac Armadas, so they may transition the mines. In other words, tomorrow we may see the first series, which you know it ain't going to be the final target because they'll let it run for a month and make adjustments to it so that they make their money off it. But we'll see the first series of the new mines come out tomorrow. You know.
Yeah, and I think most people are hoping it's a 73.
I mean that would be the best one to run. You know what I mean? But you know we don't know for certain. But I mean, based on what Kicksai's done over the last couple raid series, is when they've rolled the target out onto the map. You know, it's been right after the raid. They brought out the first of the targets as a trial run. You know what I mean? We get a chance to hit it, and they get a chance to gather information on it. And then at the end of the month, we get the final product, and the old targets go away. So if that's what they do again, you know, we'll have an idea at least of what we're looking at going forward for the next year and whether or not if Ironclads are going to be good or not. You know, and for anybody who hasn't redeemed, you know, those Ironclad build tokens were dirt cheap. You know, and there's always somebody's going to come up with a build that's going to auto with them Ironclads, even if it's a lower level mine. You know what I mean? And once that build gets out into the community, having those tokens stored would be a great thing because then you can just do an instant refit and boom, you got a fleet to auto those. So, you know, for anybody who hasn't redeemed all your points yet, grabbing them tokens might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, and that sort of goes on to my point as far as I would, if it's possible, I don't know if it's going to be possible for when they shut things off and when we're going to see the update. I might wait to redeem if you have some tokens left over. I might wait until we see the release notes tomorrow.
Well, the release notes are going to come out at 9:00 Kickside time. So those in alpha won't be able to do that.
Yeah.
But if you're in any other world, you still got that last hour to couple hours that you'll be able to see the release notes and then make the final determination on prizes. If you can still claim them, because remember, there's been a bug in past trades where when the prize redemption ends in alpha, it ends for everybody.
Yeah, but they seem to have gotten rid of that problem. The last 2 raids, I think. It was a problem before that, and then they realized they didn't want to be, having to employ extra people at customer support in order to take care of all the issues. And then, but if you don't have $50 in the game, yeah, don't wait. It's not worth the potential risk. Well, we were sort of killing time. Hopefully Larry's going to show up because we may go back to this slide, even though there's nothing really on it, and see what Larry's BP professor's experience was in the raid.
Well, how was your raid? Now, you asked me how my raid was. How was your raid?
It was pretty good. I got over. Well, I guess it leads to another point. I was killing stuff up until the last, actual minute, and where I thought I might not actually get some points. I got bored with. I started off the first day doing 73s constantly. And then I transferred over to just doing 107s. And I ended up with, I wasn't very energetic about the raid, but I still got, I think it was somewhere between 205 and 210 million, which got me, I think I got 3 of each armor, a bunch of tokens, and then all of the things that led up to and included in the Ironclad kit. Oh, just in time.
Evening.
We were just about to move off of this slide and come back to it.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going, Larry?
I'm home. I'm all right.
Let me turn up your volume here, Larry. You're a little quiet today.
Sorry.
No problem.
So what we were talking about, how we did in the raid and stuff?
Yeah, how'd you do, buddy?
So I ended up with about 420 million.
Larry,
Um,
I know you're a little bit late. Could you refresh?
Yeah, you sound robotic.
You're having that same issue that you had last week, but
Really?
last week the refresh seemed to fix it.
All right, I'll hop out and come back.
Okay.
So you grabbed the ships and you grabbed the specials. Was there anything in? What about base turrets? Were there any base turrets that you needed that you were particularly happy to get out of this raid?
I got the Dracoaxial for 2 million, which seemed like, it's really nothing. And I still have coins or points I haven't spent that I'm not sure, I'm probably going to just spend them on more tokens. I still have like 8 million left over, but I'll probably, spend on 1 hour tokens and 12-hour tokens and maybe get another Drac scattergun. I don't know.
Did you grab the hydraulic resistors? They don't come around very often, and I would recommend anybody that can get them, with the next raid being a garrison cycle, and all garrison targets seem to have those torp towers in them. Those hydraulic resistors can be a really good pickup.
Yeah, I have a bunch of them now. I'm not at a dearth for them at this point. I still have a bunch of them, so I might pick up a couple.
I got the max. I got 5 of those, even though I think I had 10 or 15, but yeah, I got 5 more.
Yeah, I just know those don't come around that often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. So I got about 420 million points. I was using a full Harlock Cannoneer fleet and doing well. Actually, so the first day I got like 50 million points doing A sets. Like I just took the fleet out and just started hitting it. And then got 50 million points and then needed to repair because I was away from home, so I was kind of worried about computer performance and getting too close to something and losing my fleet. But then after that, I did all S sets. I'm sorry, tier 6.
Yes.
Tier 6, and I ended up spending about 110 coins total. That 100 million points. So it was a lot of time, but it wasn't too bad. And so let's see, what did I get? I got here, I took notes. I got all the new, the Empyrean and the Icebreaker and the equipment there, so that was 120 million. I got the Liberator and Oppressor VXP tokens. I got all the build tokens, and I did not spend all the build tokens. I still have 5 days of build tokens left. I'm hanging on to them until the skill hull comes out.
That's what I did.
Yeah. I got 7 of each of the armors. I got enough. I got all the Zealous tokens. So I basically built a free Zealous and sculled it for free. That was 45 million. And then I got the limited stuff, the agility and the resistors and GD3. Oh, Gales. I got those limited. And I got some of the 2-day structure tokens, and then I'm going to get a few Ironclad tokens to tweak my Ironclad.
Did either of you decide to grab that second Zoe Vendetta?
No, I haven't built
my first one.
and I didn't get the Ferox Fury either. I only built 2 or 3 Furies, and I didn't see the point. I'd rather build tier 6 Conquerors.
Yeah, well, because of the points that I ended up with, and I didn't just want to waste points into the sea, I claimed every single thing except for 2 of the Cobra Scattergun redeems.
So how many points do you end up with?
752 mil.
Yeah.
So I was just clicking things. I don't even like what am I going to do with 3-day Berserker build tokens? I have no idea.
Built some Berserkers, yeah. Yeah. I built that Zealous as basically an FM tank, and so it'll probably be, if it comes down to it might be okay in this raid. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at because the rumor is that the skill hole is going to be a Mort Chucker, and then also we're looking at the Empyreans and Mort Chucker. So that kind of gives me the idea that that's the angle that Kixeye is pushing to keep the because that's what our FM now is. Your best fleet in the regular FM now is remote Mort chuckers with a good tank.
Right.
So I went in and made certain I grabbed all the Zelos tokens and stuff, because it may be a a decent tank, because they haven't really given us a good tank lately to put in front of remote fleets.
Yeah.
And so if I don't see something come out, then we got to use the tech that's available to us. And I think the pun's just not going to be able to cut it in the next series.
And that's why I put up this slide. As far as we've noticed, I've noticed that all the new halls have either 90 for the Icebreaker and 75 for the Empyrean as far as the field resistance. And as your little flash loading screen, you'll notice that the Icebreaker, the big thing that they talk about it, dauntless and unyielding, the Icebreaker crashes through ice fields like a wrecking ball through drywall. And that's, my question is, are these going to be cryomines or like a glacial Wendigo thing? And we've seen both of them associated with Drac bases, Drac style raids and whatnot. And the Zelos doesn't have that inherent with the hull.
Right, but they did give us agility 4 in the raid, which if you got that retro to R15, gives you a 79% resist.
To what exactly?
Stun and slow effects, period.
Okay, slow
Yeah,
and
but
stun
it's
effects.
not
But it's not the same thing, because some of these ice patch effects are resistance lowering, reload lowering, which aren't stun or speed. So I'm a little bit leery, if you run across something, because what's the maximum for a glacial? Is it like negative 75 resistances or something crazy like that? If you run across that, and I'm sort of going to piece this together at some point later through the show, as far as how that I see it relates to the armor and some other things. But if they're cryomines, I think the Zealous will work. It's got 80 thermal.
Yeah.
And you just throw one of the Gatling guns or whatnot on it,
or a missile, something. Yeah, something that can hit underwater.
Well, the missile requires another special to get the range, but I'm saying like these Gatling guns, or you can just throw it on there and you already got that range to start off with.
Yeah, it's probably a good choice.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to introduce the slide, Larry. I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, that's cool. No, I think you're right on there. Yeah, I mean, I was firing up the game. I pulled up my Zealous build. I mean, it's not super exciting, but it's a bunch of countermeasures and frontline countermeasures and some evade and some MX alloy and M&X armor and hydro resistors. I mean, it's
Now, Larry, have you played around any? Have you tested any targets with that MX armor, with that new armor?
No, I haven't equipped it yet. So I bought 7, but so I finished one Icebreaker, but I left the armor slots and one special slot open, and then I started a second empty shell of the Icebreaker, and I'm going to build as few as possible until, as soon as the skill hull comes out, I'm going to switch over.
Yeah, and one of those lines, I always respond to those Match.com profiles that have that in there. You can watch the show later and figure out which one it was, but we can move on.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, man.
I think it was the one. I think it was the one special slot open that I was going for, but.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
You want a lady with her special slot?
But at least one coming soon. We haven't got an official announcement, unless it happened in the last 15 or 20 minutes, regarding the VXP weekend. We could make an assumption that they'll announce it tomorrow, that it'll be the following day, or I can't recall, last end of cycle raid, was it the next day, or did they give us another week? Do you recall?
What, for VXP weekend?
Yeah.
No, VXP weekend always is falling on the Friday after the raid. Even after the whole raids, it's falling on the Friday.
There has been I do remember an occasion where we got 10 days.
I mean, I think certainly the player base is really hoping The TLC for the skill hull is right away, and VXP weekend is delayed at least a week.
Well, yeah, that would
happens.
benefit the player base and make the player base happy. But
we'll see.
Kick size changing all this up, and I'm going to break out my tinfoil hat. They know if they drop the skill hole TLC on us tomorrow, that the coiners, are going to chase it. You know what I mean? And we're going to coin to get those holes out for VXP weekend so we can rank it. And Kickside knows that. And if they give us 10 days before,
that's 500 less coin.
Exactly. So that my tinfoil hat's just going to be on. I got a bad feeling that tomorrow we'll see the TLC.
Yeah, I was trying to change my settings so they could see if you were or were not actually wearing the tinfoil hat at this point. I'm not sure if Larry's been on the show when you actually.
No, I've seen it.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I've seen the tinfoil hat.
Okay.
My comment was it didn't cover enough of his head to be effective.
yeah, I do recall that. Yes, you were talking about the azimuths of the. I do recall that. So yeah, we don't know when either one of these are coming. And that's
I requested early release notes, and they did not oblige.
Yeah, see, that would have been something Kicks I could have done that would have been a good move for the player base. It would have been good. It would have given, it would have built a bridge with us, because all the players have been complaining. And I mean, every show, the player base, the forums, the biggest complaint that's been in this game for the last 6 months is communication.
Yep.
And they could have reached out and they could have gone ahead and given us the release notes on Tuesday like normal, even though they weren't running the update live yet. And that would have given us at least a tiny bit of direction. People could have made more decisions on how they were going to redeem their points based on that. It would have been a good move on their part, and they blew it. So,
yeah. Alrighty. So I think we covered both, but basically, the skill hull TLC, we basically assume is going to be, you need to be very efficient at completing tier 5 and 6 in order to win whatever the skill hull is, or the opposite. You may not get the new mortar that we assume is coming out, because sometimes they'll do the hull first, then the special, then the weapon. That's what they've done at times. Sometimes they reverse it, so we'll see. But you won't get some critical part unless you can do
all three
those.
Well, here's what I'm worried about. And if they do this, it's gonna blow up in their face. But I'm really worried because all these TLCs they've been coming out here with, the new TLCs they've been coming out with, has all been limited blueprints for the ships with mastery rounds. If they do that with the skill hole, that's going to eliminate 9/10 of the player base from having the skill hole for the next raid series and for the FM for the year ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They better not do that, and I don't think they will. I think that limited mastery TLC is just for those. They're calling them the Or series. So you start with the Liberator and the Oppressor. So I think we're only going to see that in those Or series of ships, but.
And I hope it's not the 1 hour one, because I really dislike the 1 hour final stage. It's like, if anything happens with your computer, you get a phone call, if Dr. Death needs to make a cigarette, all these things get involved in that 1 hour, or you feel like, okay, I need to keep on refreshing just to make sure I don't crash. The 1 hour is stressful, especially when they upped it to like 8 encounters an hour. It's I don't know. It depends on how you like your game, because I explained that, the first thing I did in the 73 target in this raid was I took out that big turret, just removed all the stress. Like I said, I could knock out the 73, go get a beer, come back, and then finish the rest of the target. And I just like the less stressful approach. And that 1 hour I find to be stressful. This is what Doom Rooster has posted associated with what's coming in the next raid cycle. And it's going to be called Cold War. garrison targets, draconian in style. Black is back. The
Black
Legion,
leather.
yes, the Legion and the Drax are whatever, some side story. The Icebreaker is going to work best for A sets. The skill hull is coming soon. Citadels with a tank will also be useful, so get your FM fleets ready. The campaign things, which I think is good for the lower level players. And I don't have any information on what the targets look like because they haven't been made yet. That's disturbing. Or it's a lie. I'm more hoping that it's a lie than it is, or an alternate fact than it is than it's true, because they've designed all the hulls that we're winning, but they don't know what they're hitting yet. And I'm just hoping it's an alternate fact.
That would, that would be really, really bad. But that would explain why we get these ships and we get these weapons, and then they ain't worth shit in the damn raid. The Ironclad was supposed to be the auto hull this last raid. How many of you actually went out and autoed a B or an A set? I mean, autoed, where you just clicked on the target, let your fleet go.
Actually, I could auto B sets. I could auto B sets, and they were just about instant. I'm going to say that.
But was it worth even your time to do it? No. Yeah.
We were supposed to. Well, the Cannoneer was supposed to be the tier 6. The Ironclad was supposed to auto tier 5. Because those were they were the top holes, and that was for the people that the top end players that didn't want to take the seat time. They could just click on tier 5 targets all day long. But I don't know anybody that actually could auto a tier 5 target with Ironclads.
I don't think most people could drive in the tier 5 targets with Ironclads either. Right?
And that may be where the problem's coming from, is that they're designing the stuff they're selling to us before they even know what the target is we're going to hit it with.
I think it's going to be really tricky to make a skill hull that works like the skill hulls we've seen, where you kind of drive skillfully and stay at the edge of your range, and so you survive without a scratch. When they already laid down this Icebreaker with that 98 range rocket, so what's the skill hull going to be like?
Well, the rumor is it's going to be a Mort Chucker, but if that's the case, if it's a Mort Chucker, then you're going to have a tank, and you're not going to have a tank that's going to be able to do it damage free.
Right, because your tank is going to be either an Icebreaker with 98 range or a Zelos with 98 range or less.
Does it have 98 range? Let me check.
Well, no, the Icebreaker's only got 80, what is it, 88?
88.4.
Yeah.
The rockets? Oh.
Yeah, it's only 88.4.
All right, so maybe they can get something with better range.
But if the skill hull is a Mort Chucker, then where are we going to get that better range that we're going to use as a spotter on a ship that's not going to be, taking damage?
Well, I've built Vendettas that are tanks to spot for Vendettas that are Mort Chuckers. So, they could do something like that. They could have it dual use, right? Just a ship with good MX resistance, and then you throw a launcher on it for 94, or a missile and remote targeting for 98. Not remote, your 30% range boost.
Yeah.
GMS. Or something like that. But I think all right, well, if there's 88 range on those rockets, then I think they got options.
Yeah, they might have options. But and I just want to say this too. I'm leery about the Icebreaker as a tank. Because if you look at its benefits, it gets all its defense benefits from being stacked in a fleet.
Yeah. That's what I really don't like about this hull in particular, is because of that, now they're saying, oh, you should build 5 of these. And I don't want to build 5 of these.
Yeah. Because, and there's a chance that we're not going to get another tank, though. I mean, because originally it had 80% original resistances, and then they changed it, and then they changed it again. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
not
mean,
your single tank anymore.
this is not quite as tanky as my Zealous. I'll just say
Yeah.
that.
So, well, except for your Zealous doesn't have tactical or field resistance, so
Right.
that's
That
you
could
know.
be a thing.
No,
Yeah.
I think you know what I think is where it's gonna come down. Where I really think it's gonna come down. I think it's gonna come down on these new armors. And right now, from everything that we've seen, these armors are junk. You know,
Yeah.
because I've watched plenty of tests. I've seen a lot of people throw them on and test them on different holes. Running them into cargoes and stuff. And to a freaking T, every ship they build that puts one of these armors on takes more damage than a build that doesn't have the armor on. Same build without one armor panel takes a lot less damage than a build with one armor panel. And the only thing I can look at when I watch it, I think what's happening, in my opinion, is that when you've got one of these armor panels on, your defenses are actually shutting down until that pool is depleted.
That's right. That's what they said.
But now here's the problem. Here's the problem with that, Larry. So say you got an X armor on, right? And it stops 10,000 points of damage, right? So
Mhm.
you only take 35 points of damage if the Mort does less than 10,000 points of damage. But now against player bases, against ships and player-based weapons, that's great because there's not a weapon out there that we can put on our ships that single shot does 10,000 points of damage or greater. But against kick's eye weapons, they're always jacked way up over the top. So
Yeah.
if you have a Mort fly at you that does 20,000 points of damage, and you got an X panel on there, you're going to take 10,000 points of damage from that one shell. Now, if you got 95% explosive defense on that ship instead of one of the X panels, you're only going to take 1,000 points of damage.
Yeah.
You see the equation there?
Yeah. It's
And there's a missing part of the equation because we don't know these. Well, we have another slide on the armors, but we don't know. It's they show us the pass through, or what we've been calling the pass through, the minimum damage for these, but we don't know what it is for siege deflection or assault deflection. There's no real good way to compare the two because they've never released that information, and I've never been able to figure it out on data mining. I've been able to figure it out on weapon specific stuff.
way back when, and when the Punisher was new, I thought the minimum pass through was around 50 on a lot of. It seemed to vary per damage type, but yeah, it's certainly not well known.
No, it's not well known. But the bottom line is, the way this armor is set up, if the way the armor is supposed to be is that it takes 10,000 off the top, then your deflection, your defense, and your resistances kick in after that and reduce that damage even further and to a minimum of 35 points or 50 points for the X panel, then that would be a good armor. You know what I mean?
No, that doesn't. That
But
doesn't
that's
work
not
that
the
way.
way. But that's not the way it's performing. The way it looks like it's absolutely performing is that if something shoots at you, it takes 10,000 points of damage off of it, and everything else hits you.
Well, that's not. Yeah, but that's not the way it's. Well, you brought up two different points. One, as far as the minimum damage, your deflection and your resistances don't reduce the minimum damage. But if the damage exceeds that, it your resistances and deflections should come into play.
That's it. Yeah, you know what? They made a pin post how charged armor works.
Yeah, and that's if you read the part that says note and then the colon. I'm not looking at it right now, but I recall it because me and Dr. Death just talked about it earlier.
Yeah, they
But
say.
yeah, I read.
Do you want me to share the screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. One second. Let me take myself off of. How do I do this? One second. If I just click on Larry, can everybody else see it?
Yeah. So it's right here. Uh,
Okay. There we go.
so
I think we're
if
good.
minimum, all right. So what they're saying is if minimum damage occurs, then resistance and deflection is ignored.
Mhm.
Okay. But so minimum damage, it doesn't kick in, but it's the greater of minimum damage or leftover damage after charged armor, in which case resistance and other deflection do apply. And they show the hierarchy, which is at least consistent here, right? We always knew resistance went before deflection. So it's the charged defense first. That's the reduction from your charged armor.
Mhm.
Then resistance, and then deflection, and then remaining damage.
But it
So yeah,
doesn't seem to be working that way.
well, right. We've established that Kixeye doesn't test to their most basic requirements. So the fact that it's not working doesn't totally surprise me. I don't know that we've seen any new mechanics work their first time out. So
Yeah, they all get passed through Google Translate, and then they're presented to the.
yeah, but this is what they want, and what they want seems to make sense, and seems like this would be good stuff. But
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, it would be, because on that same scenario with the 20,000 Mort shell, it hit that panel, take 10,000 points off the damage. Then you would get your explosive resistance off of that. Then
right.
you'd get your deflection off of that. And if it dropped it below the minimum damage, then you would take 50 points.
Yep.
You know, and that would be great. I mean, that would make this armor, you know, top notch and be worth every penny that we spent on this armor.
Yep.
But at this point, it's not doing that. At this point, if you put one of these panels on a ship, you end up taking 4 times the damage that you were taking before.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
just makes it look like it's shutting the resistances down.
All right. Yeah. You can take me off present.
Because, well, we'll read that. Wait, hang on. Go back to that slide real quick, George, because there was another line in there. See, you know,
George
Kixeye
is on the show. Oh my
Larry,
god!
I'm sorry, Larry. I got messages popping up over here from a chat group I'm in, and I was reading that at the same time.
All right, let's put me back. I'm back on the.
Okay.
The page.
Now, because here was another thing. Here was another thing.
George? I'm confused now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, he's over in chat. Sorry.
Okay.
Hi, George. Oh, I'm waving, but you can't see me wave. I'm drinking beer. You can't see that either. All right. So what do you want to see on this page, man?
I'm trying to look for it. It was something that I read that kind of,
is it up a little higher?
Tricky. It might be up a little bit higher. All right. Yeah, here it is. Here it is, right there. Down just a little bit. You scroll down up too high. Okay, right there. Here's a line in here that makes it a little bit tricky. Okay, because you know Kixeye, they always write things weird, right? It says right here, however, if the damage from a single projectile is greater than the maximum damage reduction, which we know on like the X is 10,000, you will take whatever damage is left over or minimum damage, whichever is higher.
Well, right, but that leftover damage does get passed through.
But in that paragraph, it doesn't say that.
It does. Well, but here, right before it says, this means that anything that goes through the shield can be further reduced by other damage mitigations such as resistance and deflection.
Okay.
So I think they're being consistent in this post, but it doesn't seem like they're being consistent in the game in what we've tested.
I think I think the note is what's happening in that in the game. It's automatically saying whatever damage is coming through is minimum damage, and therefore ignoring resistance and deflection.
Well, if people are taking that much damage, maybe whatever's coming through is just coming through and not even. Well, but man, they're doing salvages and taking more damage. I mean, salvages aren't doing 37,000 points per missile.
Yeah, but yeah, if you go into a 75, it'll tear an icebreaker up that's got M armors on it. I've watched icebreakers get sunk.
In a 70, oh my god. Yeah, see, my
75.
icebreaker with no armor is like doing fine.
Yeah, but the icebreaker with no armor is just walking through it without a scratch. You put the armor on and it sinks. I mean, there's a serious problem there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of which, we're talking about the new Icebreaker as far as the slide goes, and this is the I took a couple of things from your article you wrote this weekend, and
Yep.
thanks for writing another article.
That was a good article.
Thank you.
And it needed more girly pics, right? Right, Death?
Well, of course, everything needs girly pics.
Okay.
I keep the girly pics off the blog. That's just for you guys.
I know. We're just throwing it out there as something you may want to do. But I understand everything. We're going to talk a little bit about the. I did a little data mining adventuring today, and we're going to talk a little bit about your HRV, high velocity, or HVR, high velocity rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else makes a good amount of sense.
That is the special I left off, by the way, on my build.
You what?
So when I built,
okay, I got you. That's the one that you decided I'm going to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. My build is got none of the armors, and then left off HVR.
Okay, yeah, because the armors, that was going to be the big question. Because I don't know that these armors are for this haul. Because my theory, I don't think it's really a tinfoil hat theory, even though Dr. Death, you can throw it on if you feel like, the crowd loves it. But my theory is that the reason that we have them, I think I brought it up a little bit earlier, is that we've got a new armor dynamic, is that the ice patches, that get overcome by field resistance, one of the big things is going to be gnawing at your defense resistances, and this will not be impacted. And so I think that's why they added this aspect to the game, even though they pissed a lot of people off by adding this in at this cost, something that we don't know what it is, never really seen it in action in a positive way, not really seen what it's going against, and asking for 200 million. I'm assuming that's got to be part of the dynamic.
It's a big leap of faith. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? They gave it to us early, 200 million points. Now, this may be the armor if they get it fixed and it actually starts working that you need to do the top tiers in the next raid. But if that's the case, then they're going to have to bring this armor back out at a much lower cost, so that the majority of the player base. Because looking at the leaderboards, there was maybe 1,000 players that were able to claim all these armors. That had enough points to claim the top tech plus all the armors.
Yeah. I mean, right. I had 420 million, and I was around 1,200 global. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a really small percentage of the player base.
And I had 210, and I was at 4,700, which gave me 3 of each panel.
Okay.
Plus all, plus tokens and all the other stuff. So I think the number I shot at is probably a more realistic number for them to shoot at. At least 5,000 players are going to have the tech. Because I was at 4,600.
Of course, now it's all going to depend on the use of the tech. Is this going to be tech that, because they released enough of these panels to outfit a full fleet? You know what I mean? So what are we going to do if we got a Deadeye, some type of Deadeye that's in this base that's firing at your morts? And what was I talking about? Hey, wait. No. Anyways, back to this.
I'm gonna skip over that one.
Back to this. I did have a different idea on a build for this ship than what you got here, Professor. I was thinking, because of the extreme spread that's on these rockets, of putting the narrowed firing aperture on here to reduce the spread, or going with explosive 4.
Well, yeah, I think I published this article, and then somebody actually said it as a comment. They put ES4 on it, and And this thing doesn't have a splash bonus built into the hull, and none of my specials here have a splash bonus. So anything that gives you a splash bonus, I think, is probably a really good idea for this hull.
I wasn't even looking at the splash bonus. I was looking at the spread.
Yeah.
The spread's 150 on this rocket. So if you can narrow that down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make it a little bit more focused.
I can totally see that. Mm-hmm.
That's why I was talking about the narrowed firing aperture or explosive system 4.
Yep. Good choices.
All right, should we move on to the
good choice? Yes.
T100S? I thought since they had the golden eagle in the first one, I thought I would have the owl on this one.
Okay.
Oh, there's an owl?
Yeah, there's an owl, and there's a bat. But
oh, I didn't catch that.
The bat?
Yeah.
Where's the bat?
Yeah.
Oh wait.
But I did a little exploring the Dark Alliance data mining information, and the projectile speed on this thing is crazy relative to what we've seen recently. The most recent rocket type of thing we've seen is the coaxial firestorm in rocket mode, where that has a projectile speed of 85.
Yeah.
And the projectile speed on this is 375, which is up with the ballistics.
It didn't feel that fast when I took my icebreaker out.
No, it doesn't look that fast either.
I mean, I would have believed 150, 200, but it doesn't seem that fast.
Okay, I haven't used it. That's just what they listed, and they've been historically quite accurate.
Well, yeah, data mining is accurate, right?
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, this.
I could change the slide unless you got something else to talk about.
Let's talk about the rocket for a bit, and let's talk about how it's the rocket to get. I think what you do actually want to notice. I mean, we didn't run DPS on it because these days it just seems like you get the newest weapon and you put it on the newest hull, and it's all a match set, and you don't analyze DPS anymore because what's the point when you know this is the thing you want? But you see, it's got higher damage and less reload time than anything comparable. It's just kind of clear when you just sort of glance at the specs that this is really going to put out a lot more hurt than any kind of rocket.
But it does have that very wide spread, and you got to think it's a 3-shot salvo, so each shot is actually only doing a little over 2,000 points of damage.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, look at any other rocket. You won't find 2,000 points.
That's true.
Out of a single rocket shot anywhere. So yeah, it's a good rocket weapon, and so yeah.
My only problem with the icebreaker and the rocket is traditionally in this game, rocket holes don't have a good shelf life.
Well, here's the problem in general: is to get the new equipment, to get the icebreaker and the stuff to go on it, you had to pay 120 million points. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Last raid, we paid 90 million points for the Cannoneer, which was the premium hull that you really wanted, that was better than the Ironclad. So we were paying 90 million points for the very top hull for the next cycle. And it felt expensive but worth it. This one, you paid...
Oh, just like on the right. Go
ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, what? So the icebreaker is now more expensive the hull that you really want to build. Probably.
Yeah. And the build time too, 15 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, for the top end players that have got all of their FM prizes, with the tokens that were available in the raid and the tokens you'll get before the next raid, that's going to be 27 days worth of tokens that you can claim. That's only for the top end players that have claimed every prize in the FM. Which there's a large portion of the player base that isn't to that point yet.
Yeah.
So for us, yeah, we're going to be able to take 27 days off. So that's almost 2 holes, and then you got 30 days of build time between raids. So that's another 2 holes. So we can crank out 4 holes without spending a lot of coin on it. But for the average player that isn't that point in the FM, they're either going to have to throw a lot of coins to have this fleet on the water ready next raid, or they're just going to have to hope they can squeeze through with just a couple of holes.
Yeah.
Or there's like people that are in our position that don't want to coin this stuff. If you set yourself up, because the Icebreaker is meant to be stacked with 4 or 5 of them, so you need to get 4 or 5 of them to make them effective.
Right, but you don't have to get the rank on these. You can get the rank off of cargoes, and a non-coiner can put 4 of these on the water before the next raid.
Okay, but my point was that you want to set yourself up with 4 of them, which is going to take pretty much the entire month to build, right?
Yeah, so you're not going to be worrying. You're not going to be able to build the PvP.
Let me finish my sentence. But you're not going to be able to build the skill hall that's going to come out next week.
Right.
You're going to have to make a choice between the 2 of them. And that's where I'm having my issue as far as getting the skill hall built and ranked prior to the next VXP weekend. And that's where I'm really in a quandary at this point.
Well, not only that, but they're going to drop at least 1 PvP hole on us too.
True.
Another
Ore series.
Yeah, we'll have another Ore series this month. So we know there's another hole coming. So we got 2 more holes coming, and this hole by itself will take all month to build. Or if you're going to build the Empyrean Zelos fleet, which a lot of people are looking at, that's going to take
all month.
Yeah, that's over a month for that fleet. Yeah. So what is Kixeye doing? They've shortened the raid series, but they're increasing the amount of time we've got to invest to have a fleet for it, and they're throwing even more fleets at us.
Yeah, they're throwing more holes at us, and I think should we have a little vote on the change from a 3-month or 4-month to a 3-month cycle as far as player engagement and player enjoyment? Is that a good move? Okay, I think we heard that.
No. Okay, here. You know what? This could be part of the problem, though. That going back to your slide a couple slides ago, this could be part of the problem. They shortened the raid series down to 3. They may not have the time to have the targets ready for us, and that's why that's posted.
All right. Okay, so here's the thing: there are some benefits about shortening from 4 to 3, and that is, another month of these targets would have been really freaking boring.
Yeah.
Right? And you have, instead of 4 months between hull stores, 3 months between hull stores. So it does give players more opportunities to catch up. I knocked out like 1 or 2 tier 6s for another player, and he was like, 5 million points. He was so happy. He could get like a vendetta and a spite. He was thrilled. And I just 10 minutes of my time. Right? And
I had a feel good moment this raid too on that same issue. I had a little kid that's in our sector that started playing, and he just kept asking everybody all raid long, can someone get me 900,000 points? There was something he wanted that he needed 900,000 more points for, and I went out and I got him an S set and didn't think nothing of it. He was all happy and thanking me in comms. I got back on the next morning, and his dad had wrote me this long message about how his son had been so over the moon happy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because he had got 2.5 million points, and he had claimed this hole and that hole, and he was just so energized about the game. That was my feel good moment of the raid.
It wasn't George, was it?
Spoiler alert, George is 10 years old.
But so there is that benefit, but they're pumping so much. They need to slow down on the content that they're dumping on us.
Yep.
There is a benefit to the shorter raid cycle, but the content has been increased while they've shortened the raid cycle, and that's where we're getting killed.
Yeah. do we really need? Okay.
I don't think we
Bygones.
need 3 different sets of fleets for one raid series. I'm sorry, I don't.
No,
Well-
I hate it. I mean, because the generalists are not generalists.
No, they're not.
Right. If the Empyrean was a generalist, it would have missile remote targeting. I said it before it came out. It didn't have missile remote targeting, and I am disappointed. I very hopefully will never build an Empyrean.
As opposed to, I'm a little. I mean, I won't even mention it. I'm leery that there's, I'm not going to bring you up, but I've seen your blog post and Renato's video blog post as far as what you guys plan to build. And you both are in the town council or what, a town hall, or what do you call it?
Town hall.
Yeah, the shindig. And he's not building one of them, and you're building one of them, and that worries me. I'm not going to ask you to declare anything, but
no,
that worries me after seeing it, because I can see that as like a passive observer, not even directly talking to you, just scanning the internet for girls with owl tattoos and battle pirates information, and I'll see that. So it's not like insider information on that one.
Well, no,
Yeah,
what it
there
looks
is no
like.
Insider information.
Exactly.
I mean,
That's exactly what it's saying. That's exactly what it's saying to me, because even the players that are in the town hall meetings that are supposed to be, getting some feedback and getting some ideas on what's going forward in the game, have no idea what's going forward in the game, because they're all building different things.
So what I'll tell you is what Kixeye has been playing with the most and bouncing off us the most in the town hall has been the order of how they release these skill halls and blitz halls, and they're still playing around with it. They haven't figured it out. They bounced this kind of thing off of us, and we said, I don't know.
Oh, so we can blame all the players in the town hall for us not getting the skill hole this rate.
And I think, well, what we certainly told them was, do not release the hull without a weapon again. And they certainly got that message, with the cannoneer disaster. But they're in their defense, they're trying to figure it out. And I think the way they did it this time was not good, because of what I said, 10 minutes ago, is you're paying a premium price for not the premium hull. And that's
well, I tell you what, I do hope that you are right in your assessment that Kixeye got the message. We'll know when the TLC comes out.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I missed her already.
All right, I can put her back.
No, it's okay. We got to move on. We got to move on.
We got to move on. All right, the D100Z.
Damn you, Larry.
Yeah. Projectile speed of 80. Judgment has 78 projectile speed, so not that different. Big difference. The minimum splash is 80 on this one, as opposed to a judgment order is 50.
Okay.
So what that means is at the outer extremes of the splash radius of this, it's still doing 80% damage, as opposed to the judgment, which is only doing half the damage it started with. And it already starts off with slightly higher DPS.
That's a real interesting stat you pulled up, because I think a lot of the argument I've seen up until now, when you showed this to me, is I don't understand why to build Empyreans over the Citadels I already have, other than the fact that the Empyreans are faster, so they don't leave the Citadels in the dust, when you have it. But
is the Empyrean in the Retro Lab?
But the adapted Imperial mortar is. This is in the siege mortar category. So yeah, you get a splash bonus. It goes from 18 to 22.3 at R15.
Of course, you can only put this on an Empyrean or a Zelos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But the
So
blanket the blanket stats weren't that sexy, and they should have presented these. I mean, they should have told people, "Oh my goodness, minimum splash is 80 relative." I mean, they could have sold this. I mean, all the reasons this stuff
right.
is good is in the data mining. It's not in what they told us. But whatever. Because otherwise, if you look on the right-hand side, it's like, okay, it's a little bit better than the Judgment. But it's got the 19% or anti-mortar. But
Yeah,
how does it compare to the Judgment's MERV? But then you start looking at the minimum splash, and you look at the Judgment mortar is not in the retrofit lab, but the D100Z is. So you've got this 17 splash
22.
versus 22.3, and once you start stacking on splash specials, that number becomes huge.
Well, now I will say this because I recommended this to some of the lower level players in my alliance that are building the Imperiums. I recommended to them, just because they put this, they've got the stat on here for anti-mortar evasion, which means chances are there's something in the target that's going to be shooting down morts, an iron curtain or something, right? So what I recommended to my player base when they build an Imperium is they still want to put 1 or 2 Judgment motors on the hull, just because they fire at a different rate. So you will have a continuous stream of morts flying off that ship to overpower whatever it is that's trying to shoot them down.
Yeah, it's cool. All right.
Have we talked enough about the
Yeah, the only
Fix
thing
it, Kickside.
All right, yeah, Kickside needs to fix this. I think the only other thing I'd say about these armors, one of the options I'm kind of intrigued with is a lot of people are saying, oh, a couple M and a couple X. I'm wondering if you might be better off like loading up on charged armor of one damage type and then loading up resistance of the other one, like using a bunch of C1X and then loading up on missile defense, or even vice versa.
See, that's what I was looking at, because if with the speed that we got, unless the morts coming off this next target are just insanely fast, we've always been able with our ships, if you keep them moving, to outrun morts. Mm-hmm. And it's the splash. If you get caught by anything, it's splash. This armor is not going to do anything for splash.
Well, it should. I mean, it's
you think it will?
Yeah.
Well, if the explosive damage, yeah. I mean, it should help, but it's not,
No explosive is direct fire. It's all splash. So yeah, I.
But I was thinking, because we always outrun morts, that it might be better to build up your explosive defense, but then run heavy on the missile panels, because missiles hit and they hurt.
Yeah, and that's I was thinking, then if you have the missile charged armor, then you can also ditch evade. You can maybe free up some special slots there. All right, so yeah, that's something.
But does anybody find it odd that it appears to be like some sort of woven fabric just right behind the metal?
No, composites. That's what composites look like, man.
Yeah. You know what this actually reminds me of? This reminds me of the explosive panels that the military's got on the Abrams tanks. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's called reactive, where it blows up.
Yeah, it blows up. But it looks similar to this. Big bulky panels sitting on the side of an Abrams tank that are meant to stop penetrating, damage.
Yeah. Hey, there's probably one more strategy to keep in mind on this. So when you read that pinned post, they talk about how this goes from battle to battle. And it says the percentage of your explosive armor pool is based on the percentage of your damage. So if you're running this armor and you're in a target and your charge runs out, you actually want to retreat as quickly as possible before you start really racking up the damage. Because then you can retreat, come back in, and your charge ought to reset with just, whatever damage you have.
I think the thing about
Does
this
that make
armor,
sense?
yeah, it makes sense. But I think the thing about this armor is, there ain't going to be no quick repairs. This is something where if you got this armor on your ship, you're going to want to fully repair before engaging combat.
Yeah. And just for clarification for everybody, the if you put more than one of these on a hull, the explosive damage reduction does not increase. If you have, as an example, if you have one of these on a hull, it'll be 10,000, and the explosive armor pool will be 50,000. But if you have, 500,000. 500,000. But if you have two of them on there, the damage reduction is still 10,000, but this goes up to 1,000,000.
Yep.
So just as far as,
Yeah.
people know, because it's not explained
Right.
very well.
Right.
And that stat in itself scares the piss out of me. That stat in itself scares the piss out of me.
Because if you don't have it, it's going to do 1,000,000 points damage.
Exactly. I mean, what ship without this armor is going to be able to withstand 1,000,000 points of damage?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I was just thinking, it's sort of an argument that you might need the faster remote targeting ships again. I was talking about the Citadels being slow and the Empyreans being fast, right? And so if you have mortar hulls that are falling behind, then it's going to take you longer to do these targets, and you're going to take more damage. I wonder if that's going to be a thing. All right.
Yeah, this is the other. This is the other plate. I mean, both of them take 50 maximum hits, and that's sort of the way it works.
Yeah. All right. Just keep rolling.
We don't want to talk about the armors till they're fixed. In case anybody's listening, we have skipped over doing any sort of mathematical analysis of this hull because it's broke. This armor plate that costs 10 million each, 200 million total. Because we don't want to waste our fucking time because we've seen how broken it is in the videos. Just FYI to anybody that's listening that pays attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is just sort of, you weren't on for last week. I was just trying to explain to people why, how to design their base. You weren't on for this. And as far as how the armor works and bloodthirst works, I just threw this in there as just an add-in in case we needed. We ran out of time early.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Have you seen this before or no?
Yeah, I think I saw it before. I think I looked at your last set of slides. So yeah, I've seen it. It's good.
Okay. Yeah, but basically, people, don't put your labs near your entrance. Spread them around, do whatever, but they're not adding to your bubble pad. All they're doing is giving people bloodthirst to come and kill you. So don't do any of this, stacking everything and saying, oh, okay. Because look at the slide. You need 500 labs to equal one level 15 warehouse. 300 labs for a turret, and the people with the resource generators, I'm assuming, are not watching the show.
Yep, time to scrap them. Hopefully, you can get resources through other means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't get enough resources through them generators, anyways, to make much of a difference.
Juiced up.
But if you need, 1,333 of these, it's not a bubble pad. So, all right, I guess I can shut down the slides and unless everybody wants me to go back to the Owl Girl.
Oh, we're done? No screw-ups?
Well, because they didn't have any, we can bring up screw-up. Yeah, there's no release this week. And I think the other shows are going to be impressed that we didn't bring up anything dealing with the release. and I think we had solid content for 70 minutes, and we didn't bring up Tito quitting the game.
Yeah.
And we didn't
Tito
do
quit the game,
anything.
everybody.
What?
Tito quit the game, everybody.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, this is the second time, but it's been well over a year beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he quit the game. He's not going to go join Price at the Battle Vortex. I know that. I know.
You sure?
Oh, he went there.
Yeah.
And you crack me up sometimes.
There was, since we're at the
Well,
end now,
he didn't come on the show. I told him I was going to do that. If he didn't come on the show and explain why he quit, I was going to say that. I mean, he didn't even see it, but I gave him several hours to look at the post. But yeah, it's because I think yeah, I think it's interesting to see why people are quitting the show at this point, especially people that coin and are interacting with the game. And people like Tito, if people like Tito are quitting at this point in the game, I think it's interesting, if not to the community, it should at least be interesting to Kixeye why these people are doing that.
Here's my thing, right? Someone like me, I'm spending maybe $10 a month, $20 a month on this game. It's really not that much money, in my opinion. There's a lot of players that spend a lot more than that, I'll just say. And I feel like those guys are the guys that get really pissed, because when you're spending $100 or $200 on this game and you don't feel like you get value for that, you get really pissed.
Yeah.
If I spend $10 on it, that's what, a lunch, a couple beers. Over a month, I'm spending a couple hours, whatever. It's worth it. Even if I get screwed once in a while in what I buy, it's still not that much money. I think those guys that are spending huge sums of money get kind of mercurial, and they feel like all of a sudden they're not having fun for that money, and then just rage quit.
Well, I've had 5 friends quit in the last week, and all of them were coiners. But it wasn't so much the value; it was they said they were tired. They've already got a job in real life.
Yeah,
that's pretty much been the most common thing I've heard. I've already got a full-time job. I don't need a second one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and as far as I don't, with the lack of information, that we're getting, and then we're asked to get, the 120 million points wasn't bad, but then now
another 200 for armors and another.
Yeah, that you don't know anything about, and then that's the part where I sort of understand. You saw it in chat where I'm like, if they only allowed you to get 3 of each armor, would you still quit? And then he didn't respond to that because I think that was sort of the line, because people didn't want to spend all the time to get another 200 million when they felt like that was the max. And it's disappointing and whatnot, but yeah, it's whatever. I don't know. It's
I think especially after this raid, I am more sympathetic to the quitters than ever. Yeah.
I'm sad to see him go. I think Kixeye really needs to open their eyes and start taking a look. Because it's not the non-coiners I'm seeing leaving at this point. The exodus I'm seeing is with the coiners, and that's not a good thing.
Well, it'll hit them in the pocket. Maybe they'll learn something.
But hey, I found a bug this past raid, and I haven't tested it out to figure out exactly what's going on. But I was able, with my cannoneer fleet, I had one cannoneer that I never finished changing over to the high velocity rounds. It had drum reloader on it. And when I would go in to hit that big turret, that launcher turret in the center of the 100, I was killing it twice as fast as anybody else with a fleet of cannoneers that had been fully switched over to the high velocity rounds. and it literally looked like I had, a Gatling gun on my ships, and all of them were firing that way.
Weird.
I mean, I was ripping through every single thing with this fleet, and I only had one ship that had the drum reloader on it, but all of my ships were firing at the same rate.
So, yep. So Tito's not here around to ask. Oh, I should take the slide. Hey, we should probably have a vote. Should I take this slide down, or
Yeah.
can we figure out what beer Larry's drinking today? Because that's
I still got the Stone Ripper. It's Stone Ripper.
okay. Yeah, that's a repeat.
Yep. Still got
But,
one or two of those left. I gotta go shopping for beer.
You're still living off your Super Bowl prowess? Wasn't that associated with an NFL bet? How you were getting?
The Stone Rippers were not.
Okay.
I think I've finished all those. Even the guy who had the Bears brought in Kirkland Pale Ale, Kirkland brand, Costco. I mean, I feel bad for him because he had the Bears. He owed about 2 6-packs, but man, Kirkland. Everybody else is bringing in good stuff, and you're bringing.
Well, I watched the.
Ain't that like water? Ain't that just kind of like piss water?
Kinda.
I watched the CNBC special on Kirkland, and I know they got big into their wines, or Costco, but I know they got big into their wines, but I don't know that they did the same thing for their beers.
It was okay.
I've never tried one, but yeah.
You're not missing anything. It was okay.
Okay.
It wasn't
Yeah.
terrible. It just wasn't interesting. Everything else was interesting. You got the Magic Hat, you got the Shorts Brown Ale, you got the Two Brothers.
Well, at least nobody brought in Little Kings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, Hollywood and Nines.
All right, what's Holly?
How's it going?
For us?
Looks like he's.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Looks like a Icebreaker with
Hello.
what, NFA and
Hello.
ES4.
Hello. Testing. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, man. I was saying on those, specifically for the Icebreakers, since there's no splash upgrade, I posted that link right there to Huggies.
Yeah.
And if you narrow, it's just like using a Vendetta, right? So if you used Explosive System 4 on a Vendetta and you narrowed its 100 spread, what is it? Explosive System does 20%, so that brings you down to an 80 spread, right? But you get that bit of splash, you're doing more damage than putting Combustion System on there, which really works for concussive weapons like the Gatling gun, things like that, because they're narrow firing weapons and you want to increase the spread. But with explosives, if you narrow the spread and you do it twice, and you do it with the narrow firing aperture and you do it with the Explosive System 4, well, then now you've narrowed your spread by half. So now your spread is 75, but your box is your splash. So your splash is about, if you're at R15, you're at about 44 splash. So every time you hit, you're hitting a 75 spread and you're hitting a 44 splash. It's like blowing up a box. Boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
That's not exactly how splash and spread work, but yeah,
Hi,
we get
George.
the idea.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
I mean,
It works. If you're going for damage, I think.
well, so because the drop off is a lot lower on this. Oh wait, no, we were talking about the rockets. Hey, Hefe, did you see the min splash on these S rockets?
Now that's a good question. Yeah,
Did he walk away for a beer?
Maybe.
he might have. He's muted.
So, while we wait for him, can I ask a question? I'm just curious to see what you guys think about this.
Of course, you can ask a question.
with the cost of the armor that it was in this raid, what would your reaction be if the price or the cost in the next raid for the same armor dropped precipitously?
Because you know it's going to happen.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to be pissed. I know that.
Well, no. See, here's the thing. All right, if this armor, if Kixeye fixes this armor, and next raid I walk it, you know what I mean?
With which
And the
hole?
people who don't, with any hole, if I put this armor on a hole and I walk this next raid, and the people who don't have this armor struggle, then I got my value out of the armor.
Good
yes.
point.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So then they reduce the price so the rest of the player base has a chance to catch up to me. And then I'm not going to be upset because, I paid that higher price to have it in advance so that, I was prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if they cut it to 5 million, even it's still a premium price.
I'd
And-
love to see it for $1 million.
Well,
Yeah, that's
That's what I'm afraid of. That's exactly what I'm afraid of.
So here's the
That's what I'm
that's
hoping for.
That's what I think is going to happen. They're going to, because if they make it mandatory, you've got to have this armor to do the raid, then the people who got the armor are going to be able to do the next raid. The people who didn't won't, right? So they'll put the armor in the next raid for 1 million points so the player base can catch up. But then those players are a raid behind unless they got somebody with the armor that can prep. And like I stated at the beginning of the show, there was only about 1,000 players that were able to claim all 10 panels of both types.
yeah. I could see it being 5 million next raid, and then maybe like at the end of the cycle they'll drop it to 1,000. I would hope that they don't drop it to I'm sorry, not 1,000, 1 million. I would hope they don't drop it to that million range until after
Well,
the
The
cycle.
third one. Yeah.
The thing is, if they drop it to 5 million apiece and they still give us the option of getting 10 each, that's still fucking 100 million compared to what the normal 30 million per raid normally.
Yeah, because it's not going
Yeah.
to be a 6-day raid. Your average player base is not going to be able to achieve that 100 million points plus get whatever the new hole, new special, new weapon.
Well, and here's the other thing: is there's not going to be a tier 6 target next raid.
Yep.
So you're not going to be able to knock
Has
out
that
6
been
million
confirmed?
points in 10 minutes.
Has that been confirmed?
Isn't that what
They said-
Hefe got from
They
Doom?
typically
Yeah.
don't have the tier 6 in the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, Doom said just A, B, and C said, I think, in his post.
Okay.
Are they going back to that nomenclature? They're going to ditch the tier 3.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, that's exactly what he said, I think. If I remember correctly, I
It
actually
just-
think he referenced it as A, B, and C set. I'm just saying.
Good. That's great. I love how they just keep changing names on things.
Back and forth, yeah.
That's great.
Let me check the slides.
You
'Cause
said
I
A, B, and
copied
C.
You copied it
Let's
right off
see.
of the forum?
Yeah, A, B, and C. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so
That's
to read out for George's question, if to do the A set with minimal damage, you got to have the armor. Then that 1,000 or so players that's got that armor, that paid for that premium price, are going to have an easy raid. You see what I'm saying? And if they have an easy raid, then paying that premium price for that armor is not going to hurt so bad.
But on what hall? On what hall?
That's what I asked when you were
Nobody
going
knows.
to get your beer.
I think that
Okay,
that
yeah.
armor will work on the skill hole too. When if it does come out, I think that armor will be beneficial for either one of the holes because they both have to be garrison.
The thing is, if the skill hall is a chucker, like we were saying, then
You don't need it.
armor it unless it's not a remote targeting fleet.
I think it'll just be another rocket fleet, but it'll be increased range, just like the Zealous was to the Cannoneer.
Now the rumor out is that it's supposed to be a Mort Chucker.
I don't know where the rumor came from, but yeah, I mean, that's the assumption that I would go with, that it's going to be a remote targeting mortar hall, because
The
that's what we've
Empyrean-
seen before.
Well, that's what the Empyrean is, too.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
let's laugh if it turns out to be another UAV crap.
Oh, fuck.
So, I mean, it gets back to what I said during the show. How do you make a mortar chucker, and how do you make that one a skill hole
Skill.
compared to the other mortar chuckers?
Well, a rocket
idea.
hole's not. Yeah, but a rocket hole's not going to be a skill hole.
Well, if you make it get 40% range instead of 30% range, then you have it the same. Essentially, you need the same skill that you needed the last two raids.
But they
What
didn't
if
do
they-
that. They shortened the range.
I mean,
What if
I have
they-
ideas how they can do it. I mean, they can do priority targeting, and they can speed up the new haul and make the new haul fast in order to avoid like an angry arc or something of that nature that might be floating out there. And
Well,
What if it's-
remember what was it? That last campaign with those, was it the Oppressor campaign where they had those draconian targets with the priority targeting?
That was the
Yep.
Liberator.
Liberator campaign. Okay. But you know what I mean, where they would shoot at your remote targeting ships if you brought them just a little bit too close.
I was thinking personally, what if they, rather than making it fast or anything like that, what if they simply increase the remote targeting range?
What if it's not remote targeting range and they just increase the range of the mortar
That could work too.
or of the hull with the mortar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could work.
but I think the tactical fields are going to be a big part of this. I mean, they keep on bringing them up by, between the blueprints of the new ships and their flash screens, as far as what the good parts are. That's,
Yeah, but they also did that with the stun armor. and
But
the-
see, you
the
got
flash
to.
rate.
But here is the problem. The problem is if they increase the range of the mortar on the ship, then
Well,
aren't
the
they?
hull-
And since if the hull and the mortar pair together, and make a longer range mort,
Yeah.
is that not in the same sense doing the exact same thing that we all screamed they had to change the blueprint for with the rockets originally on the Icebreaker?
That's because there were other mortars that would break it, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they just, I don't know, they give that mortar the same range as every other mortar, and then just give a little 5%, 10% range boost on the hull. Right.
I don't know. I still don't know how they're going to do garrison without a tank.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't be surprised if the skill hull is an actual tank rather than an actual DPS part.
Well, if the skill hole is a tank, then we'd only need to build one. But then, what is it going to remote for? What's it going to
It
tank
wouldn't
for?
be damage free either.
Exactly.
I mean, the only way I could see doing it. Anybody want to guess? I mean, the way I think they could do it is through the armor abilities that are on the Jugex and the Gore Saber and whatnot. If they added an armor ability, that might help the whole thing. There's so many ways to go, and it's not. Hey, come on! I muted you multiple times for that. But yes, everybody knows what I'm talking about.
No, it's kind of interesting, right? Because if you say, okay, I want to make a tank, right? This charged armor is really interesting because if you stay within the charge, and if you stay under the called the max
Pool?
absorption, whatever,
Yeah,
then it
The
almost
pool total.
not the pool. Well, the pool, and then but the max.
The max is orbed.
Yeah, the max reduction, right? If you stay under those two numbers, it doesn't matter what hull that armor's on.
Right.
But you're still going to take damage.
Exactly.
The skill set is supposed to be, or it used to be.
Damage-free.
I mean, yeah, it used to be. Now, whether or not that changes because it's an FM target, and and the other thing that worries me about a lot of this is that they're going into the raid set that's actually changing the FM. They can't overdo it because the FM's the cornerstone of the game. They're gonna fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Set up.
Yeah. They fuck up. If they fuck it up, then that they might as well, go ahead and put the nails in the coffin.
I think they're trying to put the nails in the coffin.
Because the FM, you have to be able to do the FM. Every player in this game has to be able to do the FM.
Holly, you need a tinfoil hat to make statements like that.
Sorry. How do you earn such said tinfoil hats?
You just have to make
You
one.
steal it from Dr. Death.
Oh,
You can just do it. Look, you can do it the getaway and just open up a bunch of tinfoil and wrap it around your head and just make sure we have it on camera.
Oh Lord.
You have to make your own because obviously you can't trust anyone else to make one for you.
Nice.
Just when you do it, avoid any microwaves.
And we,
Oh man.
and we,
Man.
and
I
we,
changed the password on my microwave today.
and we've seen how much hair it burned off Dr. Death's head. Burn that thing.
Hey, let's be realistic, okay? Other than kicks, I have to have my tinfoil hat to block the camera that's coming out of the microwave.
Oh Lord.
I mean, we
Because
should
they're
go
watching
back a couple
you.
weeks.
I
We
keep
should go back a couple of weeks and see how much more hair
He had.
Dr. Death had before he put on the tinfoil hat, and then it's like all gone away.
Y'all remember the movie Red, right? You know the guy that what the hell was the actor's name? He played the crazy psycho tinfoil hat guy.
Yeah.
The helicopters are watching. That's Dr. Death right there.
He was
Oh,
right.
the pig with the gun.
Yes.
He was right.
I actually
Watch out,
have
he's got his tobacco bag. It might have a gun in it.
It ain't tobacco.
Yeah, it is. I got the same brand.
Tobacco.
He
John
wants you to think.
Malkovich.
John Malkovich, thank you. That's the name. Yeah.
Oh, he was best in what was the poker movie?
Oh, Ocean's 12, 11, something
No,
like
no,
that?
no, the poker movie.
Oh.
Debbie Does
crap,
Dallas.
No,
Deuces
the poker
Wild?
movie.
I mean,
Oh, nobody
There was
knows it.
poking in that movie.
Poker.
I just
Where he
said.
was. I can't recall the name of it right now. I
If
was
you keep
asking
saying
for.
that, if you keep
For that
saying
line,
that, we
for
might
that
get
line
flagged.
For that line of
Stop
talk,
that.
George, we need that picture back.
We need a better one. She had a little too much ink.
Rounders.
Just a
Yes,
little too much ink.
Rounders was the movie. Has everybody seen that movie?
Clearly not.
Probably not.
I vaguely remember it.
A fucking great movie.
Okay.
So,
John Malkovich is the what's his
oh
name?
my god. Oh, I mean, because you watched it, right? You watched that movie, right?
Yes.
Did you think that was a great movie?
I don't think it was a great movie. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed. I'm 50-50 on it. It was kind of I liked his character, don't get me wrong. He was the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what's his face? Matt Damon was in there too.
Yeah, but Matt Damon is but it was otherwise I thought it was I don't know. Everybody go watch Rounders. There's going to be a quiz on it next week's show.
Oh shit.
Oh God.
No, there is.
Yeah.
So let me see. Okay, so let me see. We're gonna start
So-
guessing.
so-
We're gonna start guessing favorite
If
movies,
if
right?
everybody gets it wrong, what's going to happen?
Yeah, we're skipping rounders.
No, Rounders is a great movie. But what's going to happen is we're not going to have
Are you
to.
going to bring back the Devil Lady?
Well, I may bring the unicorn back. And nobody wants to bring the unicorn back.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
I think Larry's pointing at himself.
No, I was making the unicorn pose.
Yes. I'm not sure. Were you on the unicorn show?
I
Oh no,
I don't know. I've seen
no. Hey, we're gonna go down this aisle. I think it's time for us to get off to the after show.
off the air. I got to return the beer I rented.
I want to give a shout out to our friend Tito, who's been on this show for a long time, been a great player in the game. We're gonna miss you, buddy.
Beer's out to Tito, guys.
I can't believe he quit.
Toast to Tito. Actually, it's empty. No toast.
Okay. Well, Tito would make you go get another drink. Go get another drink, and then we'll come back and do that.
I'm gonna go take a.
No empty toasting.
All right.
All right, we'll do that. And then, but
Wait, while we're on the air?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's only a couple of girls that gonna look at your ass on the way out, and maybe nines.
See, that's gonna be Nines' favorite movie, Brokeback Mountain. I have ones for all.
my God.
I got ones. Look, I got ones for everybody. So Hefe is Strange Brew, right? Larry is Contact. Glenn is Puff the Magic Dragon, and Nines is Brokeback Mountain.
How the hell did I get Brokeback Mountain out of this?
Puff the Magic Dragon.
Puff the Magic Dragon. It's either that or it's half baked. I mean, one or the other.
I was going to say Inception.
For Tito, I brought out the hard stuff. Got the makers. For Tito.
Very
There
good.
you go.
To Tito.
To Tito.
Tito.
Yeah.
He
That's
ain't
all
died. Damn.
Yeah. But at least I didn't want him to cheer him with an empty beer. I didn't want to make it,
It just, it's just becoming a weekly thing, though. We're losing so many of the good players. Old Blackwater Pirates are leaving this game, and it's just Kicksai's got to figure out a way to stop this bleed.
Yep.
I posted in forums about this.
To all the other players.
Yep. Kicksai seems to think, Kicksai, it really looks like, and I think Kicksai's actually feeling it. I think that's why so much content is being dumped on us.
But that's the wrong answer.
Yeah.
I know it's but that's what I think they're doing, because they're not getting, they're losing so many coiners that they're dumping more content to try and get who's left to pick up and, replace that loss. You know what I'm saying? And they're not understanding
Death
you
spiral.
can't stop a cut from bleeding by making the cut bigger.
Yeah, it's a death spiral. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway.
All righty. Well, I guess I should post a link in case anybody wants to join us in the after show.
Yeah.
Including Tito. Now that he's gone over to the BV show.
Yep.
I thought he went into Ryan's closet.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll be on a plane next week on Wednesday night. So.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are
we
you-
promise we'll talk about you.
Are you
Is
are
it
you
a
gonna go
lucky
see
bat?
the are you gonna go see the F-35s or no?
I am. I'm visiting some.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I've been, after you told me about that, I researched that building. I want you to come back and tell everybody how people get around in that building.
Okay.
How they move from point A to point B.
I mean,
I thought I was in big buildings before.
and
that building's at least a mile long.
it is actually a mile and an eighth because it was built to be longer than Boeing's.
Okay.
And in other factories I've been in of similar nature, people, there's a lot of golf carts, actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you going
Yeah.
to the Lockheed place?
Hmm?
Are you going to the Lockheed place?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've even been in a couple of large buildings that have shuttles, and when I was over in Japan, they had a couple of factories that actually had a train that ran the circuit around the factory.
Good grief.
Okay.
You're not blaming this on me, are you? All right.
Dude, we always blame it on you.
Yeah. No. All right. I just pasted the hangout for everybody.
99.
Oh, Sinson finally decides to show up. Oh my goodness.
Who?
She used to want to be first, but now, whatever. All right. No, dude. Whatever. So, any parting words on your builds in the future? Because I'm just confused about what's going to happen in the game in the future, and
Nobody knows.
yeah, nobody knows. But I think Larry, me, you, Larry, Dr. Death, for having no content, I think we provided a good amount of content for an hour and a half
Yeah.
until Nines came on, and then it all went to crap.
Truth.
All right. Night, everybody.
Not everyone.
Hit the button already.
I get 12. I got like 12 windows open with all this crap.
We lost Holly.
No, he's still there. He's but he's not smoking weed on the There
Why'd
we
you
go.
guys
Google
let
Hangout.
Hefe oh my goodness.
FA, find the button.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
You can talk us out.
Wait, we're still live, man.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's waiting for someone to screw up and say something.
All right, I'm walking away. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Where are you going now?
FA, I hope it doesn't take you this long to find it.
Oh, somebody's busting out the Google effects.
How many windows do you have up? What the fuck?
He just left.
I think he just crashed.
We just lost
Oh
that. We
my
can even cut the show down now.
That is classic.
Okay, we need 5 people to jump into the hangout real quick, please.
Wonder, does Hefe work for Kixeye?
Oh my goodness.
He must do their programming.
That's great. Oh, that's great. I got to think of a movie for the Hulsh.
So how many points did you come up with, George?
725. And I had 2 million left over after I bought everything. I don't know how you only had like a little bit left over with more than that.
Because I'd never claimed in the past D5E, so I had to claim it. And then
you were still missing stuff. Gotcha.
Yeah, there were a couple items I was missing, so that's why. But there were two Drex I couldn't claim, 2 of the Cobra scatterguns. So, whoa, I'm so depressed about that.
Oh no! Whatever shall you do?
Like I would ever use them. Just like I don't know, I still haven't figured out what the heck I'm gonna do with these 3-day Berserker build tokens.
I want to know what to do with all that stun armor I got.
Wait,
Oh,
George,
God.
George, I got the perfect one. George, for Hulsh, the comebacks.
The what?
The comebacks.
That football
Why?
one?
Yeah.
Is the Berserker a prize? I don't think I've earned it yet.
It's tier 4 foundry. I think I accidentally earned it at some point.
Yeah, and you can get the
Hefe's
3-day
back.
build tokens. You can get them 3-day build tokens, buddy. I mean,
I
God damn, son.
don't even own the hull.
For what?
Maybe you will if you suddenly realized you had a month's worth of build time for a hull. See also liberators. See also oppressors.
If I'm building anything old, I'm building a Borbus because
Oh hell
That's
yeah, son.
interesting.
I was looking at that with the
and
new
look-
armor.
The repair time is less than the Icebreaker, and it has just as much armor with this build and more resistances with this build. And I was like, oh, I'm really tempted now.
I was
And
looking
And
at
Stun
probably
the
the same
map.
range.
You stun the map.
Yep.
It's so good. I wish I
stun
had
the map.
one.
I was looking at the exact same thing in the builds today.
I got because the build that I have for the Icebreaker actually transfers over perfectly because the extra bonuses that you get from the Borbus, I can take out one of the specials, so I don't need all 5 special slots. I'm like, oh, this fits great. It's a perfect transfer.
It's your narrow firing aperture or ES4 special for free on the whole, and it has like built-in building and wall damage and rocket wall evasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doubles the building damage. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this is just I'm so tempted to build one of them motherfuckers so bad.
Did I ever earn?
Hefe, are you gonna hit the fucking button or what?
No, I'm still trying to figure out the
Wait,
right.
what? It's live? Oh god.
Yeah, we're
that is
still
weird.
live. We're still
Yeah,
live.
we're still live.
I'm still trying to.
This is gonna be the 24-hour BP show, BP Crib show, guys.
I am
still
so
trying to
fired. Oh god.
I'm still trying to figure out the pill that'll cure the narrowed fire aperture.
The,
right.
What?
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a pill for the narrowed fire aperture that you get cured afterwards.
Well,
You
you got to read your
You need to
spam
stop
mail,
drinking.
and you got to go like 10 emails deep, and you got to fill out the form and sign the contract in blood, and then like in 3 days, there's going to be some pills at your door in it that'll cure your narrowing firing aperture. But there's going to be other side effects. Your firstborn gone.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, what I'm gonna do, Brian, you're gonna walk away, and you're about to open that door on the right, and then I'm gonna stop the broadcast.
Brian ain't gonna do shit.
All right.
I will stop it.
Fine.
I'm gonna have to
Hefe,
actually drop out.
Hefe,
So,
find the button.
Have a
good
fun,
one, Larry.
Have a fun after show.